Welcome back, everyone. It's time for episode 49 of the Horns Up Podcast, your weekly catch-up on all things metal. I am your host, Dan Kaplan, coming to you as always from New York, coming to you solo this week for an abbreviated episode. I am not 100% sure where Corey is at the moment, but at this point, that doesn't really matter. We have waited long enough to deliver this episode, and we couldn't really wait any longer. So here I am. You've got me. First off, I want to apologize for the delay in getting this episode over to you. You guys probably recall episode 48 came out about a week and a half ago. We try and do this every week, so we are behind. We've just been very busy in both Horns Up related things in our day jobs, and we lost track. We wanted to talk about Tribulation, about Olton, maybe not so much the Tangent, but all kinds of new albums and news stories that came out over the past week and a half, and do a proper timely episode 49, and we didn't. That's the long and short of it. So on behalf of the team, we're really sorry about that. You guys have been so fantastic as listeners, just coming through week in, week out. We owe you better than this, and we didn't deliver. So here we are. As for the version of episode 49, that you are getting, this is going to be a pretty quick one, but it's also going to be a pretty important one. You see, we've got, I've got, I guess, some big news to relay to you on the future of Horns Up, both the blog and the podcast. You would think we'd save something like this for an episode with a nice round number, like, 50, the number literally right after this one. But I don't know. To be fair, that was actually the plan. We were going to make episode 49 a normal episode and then bring you this information in episode 50, have that be the grand, important spectacle. But things didn't work out. Now we have to pretend to be all avant-garde and defiant of round numbers and whatnot. I mean, you'll deal with it, I guess. We'll all deal with it. But, you can plan for stuff, and sooner or later, life's going to throw you a couple curveballs and break those plans into a million pieces anyway. So here we are. All that said, this is the final episode as the Horns Up Podcast. And we've already had our final week as the Horns Up blog. I'm pausing for dramatic effect. Is it working? Anyway, we are not stopping with any of this by any means, but we are effective immediately going to be phasing out the name Horns Up. Why is that? Well, there are a number of reasons I could bore you with. We've had branding issues. We've had a common name with other blogs in the metal and Texas football communities. You name it. But ultimately, it comes down to this. We're not the same beast we were when we started all this. About a year ago, we started the podcast, and then the podcast grew into a blog, and then the blog eventually overtook the podcast. For so long, the podcast was the vehicle for the blog and was the main focus of our brand, but that's all shifted. The blog is now the top dog, and I just rhymed inadvertently. I apologize for that. The blog is our main focus, I should say. And with that transition, our content's changed. Our way of presenting our content has changed. Carrying on as Horns Up just wouldn't be an accurate reflection of who we are and where we're at in our trajectory, whatever that trajectory may be, wherever it might have us landing, you name it. So going forward, we are going to be known as 9 Circles. 9 Circles. Credit to Corey and Manny War for the name change. 9 Circles is, of course, a reference to Dante's Inferno and the 9 Circles of Hell. It's not so explicitly metal a name as Horns Up, but there's something, there's something kind of sinister about it, something kind of lingering underneath those words. I can't speak for the rest of the team, but I'm excited as hell about this. I guess it probably can speak for some of the rest of the team. Corey and Manny, I'm sure they're excited too because they came up with the name and all. But I don't want to put words in their mouths. Anyway, with this name change will come a whole slew of updates to the blog, the podcast, our social media, our visual identity too. There's no way in hell I can forget that. Have to give a shout out to our friend Jackie Raya, who has given us a huge assist on the design front. We've got an awesome new logo, a new site template that we'll be incorporating, new style, and the huge favor she did us was the foundation for all that. She was the linchpin for this. Like, she gave us a new logo, and it's terrific. I'm really excited to unveil all that. So thank you 100 times and then some to Jackie. You guys may know her from Twitter, but if you don't, give her a follow at Jackie_cult, JACI_KZ. VVLT. So she's awesome. Now, all this obviously is going to take some time to roll out. We're going to need to set up a new email address, map a new domain for the site. What else? Adjust the RSS feed for the podcast. That's the one that really worries me. I have no idea how any of that shit works. But we'll make it happen one way or another. It could take a little while, so we're going to go offline for a bit. How long? I wish I had an answer for you. I honestly don't. It could take us a week. It could take us 2 weeks. It could take us 3 weeks. I don't know. I would love to have everything up and running before MDF rolls in, which, by the way, is 3 weeks from tomorrow. Holy shit. But full disclosure, we are neither experts with any of this stuff nor B, working on this full time. So if this takes longer to finalize, so be it. We would rather take our time and come back at you with something great and fully realized than, rush the job and have it turn out sloppy and just sort of be fixing up as we go. So through all this, the best way to stay in touch is going to be Twitter, as always. That's probably the easiest thing to switch over because with Twitter, you can literally just change your entire account name, URL, you name it, in one fell swoop. And it's also the means of communication we, meaning I, because I run the account, use the most. So get at us on Twitter. We are at the Horns Up currently. That will be changing. But when we make the change, it'll automatically be reflected in your followers. So you'll still be following us. If we fuck up our RSS feed while changing our podcast account around, I don't know how any of that works. But if we screw all that up, get at us on Twitter. Let us know. If you want to reach us by email and need to know our new address, get at us on Twitter. Let us know. If you just want to say, hey, get at us on Twitter. At the Horns Up. It'll be a completely seamless change when we make it. You'll still be following us. I don't know what the new account name is going to be. It's going to be some sort of variation on 9 Circles, but we have yet to confirm that. So we will see what's available, and as soon as we know, you will. On a similar note, want to let you guys know, you may be aware we have a Facebook page as well. You may not be aware, actually. We don't have too much action on our Facebook page. But we may not be bringing that back right off the bat once the 9 Circles transition is complete, I should say. At least not right away. We've had some conversations on Twitter with folks. I'm talking the Skull Toaster himself, Mr. Seth Werkheiser, as well as our friends over at the Uneducated Scholars blog. And after speaking with those guys, I'm curious as to how operating without a Facebook will go. It's not like we do all that much with ours. We just sort of use it to post our articles and blah, 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 blah. And I don't know that we get all that much traffic from it. So I think we might just give it a shot without one for the moment. If that ends up not working out, then we can always bring it back at a later date. We will evaluate our options as we go. But seriously, whether we have a Facebook or not, Twitter, that's pretty much the best way to reach us. I have TweetDeck open all the time, like all day as part of my day job. So I am on there literally all the time. That's not always the case with Facebook. I don't know. So what happens now? Let's move on. For starters, the site's going to go dark. We are going to take it private, meaning you won't be able to find us in Google search results, anything like that. The podcast is going to take a break too, though I will probably at some point send a test episode out to the feed once we change everything over, once we change our registration to 9 Circles. Send a test episode out just to check that we've handled that transition properly. Because honestly, I have no idea how that kind of thing works. If you're already subscribed to us via iTunes, will us fundamentally altering our feed be reflected in your subscription? Like, will that mess up your subscription? Will you have to resubscribe? I don't know. Will you still be getting our episodes automatically? I don't know. We will figure that one out as we go. And if you aren't getting them automatically, that's right, Twitter. Complain to us there and we will figure it out. So in terms of our big news, that's about it. That's the gist. But right now, I want to just give a few shout outs to folks who have helped us make this happen for the last year. we just had our first anniversary last Friday, I believe, the 24th. And thinking about it, it's naturally a time for reflection and acknowledgments and things like that. So, I'll be quick about it. I don't want to be too cheesy with it, but here we go. First and foremost, I want to thank my co-host, Corey Butterworth, who, while he's not here right now, has been just an absolute, lights out, just like a rock behind this. I know work keeps you busy, and I know sometimes you're more engaged with all this stuff than other times, but at the end of the day, there's no way I'd have been able to keep all this going without you, Corey. So thank you. This has been a blast. Next up, a shout out to Maniawar, or as most folks in the real world know him, Zach Goldsmith, who joined us in January and has just absolutely killed it since with the amount of work he's put in. Zach, I don't know how you find time during the day to write all the stuff you do, but good Lord, thank you for it. Just a content generating fiend. Want to give a shout out to the rest of our team: Josh Stewart, Joy Merton, Jesse Dolman, contributing at different levels when they can over the last few months. But having you guys on board has been the most immense boon imaginable. We've been able to do so much more and take this thing so much farther than we ever expected to with you guys on board. And we look forward to continuing to working with you again following the rebrand. It's going to be fun. Finally, I want to thank all of you. That's all of you listening on iTunes, all of you who followed the blog and read our posts, all of you who've connected with us on Twitter, offered advice, cracked jokes, related with us, you name it. Thank you. It has been an absolute pleasure getting to know you all. I feel like we've learned so much about not just metal, but about you folks. And it's been a blast. I cannot tell you how much we have appreciated this and how much we've appreciated your support. And you're the reason we keep this going. So thank you guys. You've been an absolutely wonderful audience, and we look forward to continuing to provide you with new content once the Nine Circles rebrand is complete. So I think that about covers it. I don't think I forgot anything, but it's late, so that may not actually be the case. But regardless, you've got the gist here. So with that, I say to you, this has been episode 49 of the Horns Up podcast. Thank you, as always, for stopping by. And remember, for the final time, live, love, plow, horns up. We'll see you soon.